That horrifying time when you realize you have not actually gone live. Ugh. And I thought I was on top of things, but I believe we might actually have a feed. Let's see here. Uh, yep. Finally, Law and C Word does something right for once. Or, or is this day two? No, I hate everyone. As per usual, we are running a duct tape and uh, unfortunates thing today. So it will be all of the inability to do things correctly. Good morning, reindeer. And thank you very much. I know Aussie, or not Aussie, good Lord. I know our Australian friends are asleep, but Excited Utterance made me this lovely overlay because she is with all the graphics. And I know I will be sending Jamie an invite, but I think she will be with David working with the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping, though I contend that allegedly no one would try to kidnap her. I mean, who would want to be in her presence any more than they had to be? But I mean, that would be my defense. Like, ma'am, I don't want to be around you anyway. Yes, so she did the overlay and I yeah, same here, same here. The girls got home okay from their concert, which was awesome. And we will get started as soon as I pull it right back to friend zone dude, and I will try to remember his name. Maybe no, Law and Crime has nothing of use in their chat. I thought maybe they would remember his name, but let me get a banner going for, um the friend zone doctor guy is on the stand currently, as we go back, loading up, this trial, and just to kind of recap as we come back into it, uh, we are with this particular gentleman, and I'm going to try to move the closed caption. That's probably the one saving grace of having this be kind of delayed is that we do get the closed captions. Welcome, Unicorn 11 and Reindeer and Charlene. And thank you, Reindeer, for letting us know about this trial because we've already had fun. David tried to show us nipples last night, or did show us sort of nipples last night. And welcome, Rosamond Ranch. And if you ever need any sort of, well, at least emotional support with starting a channel, let me know. Email me. I can give you emotional support, technical support. I will try. And let me go ahead. No, that is fine, Unicorn. We are all kind of waking up. It is 9 a.m. So this is the trial of Gareth Pursehouse. He and Amy Harwick, Dr. Amy Harwick, were in a relationship about 8 to 9 years ago. It was about a year a long relationship. It's kinda muddled. He was violent, according to her, and when they broke up, he did do kind of some very scary things, so she got 2 protective orders, one of which I do think he did violate, breaking into her house at that time. They split up, 8 years, really didn't have contact. She went on to become rather famous in the Hollywood community, went on to get her license in family therapy, specializing in human sexuality, which I didn't know that you could do that, but she did. Kind of found a niche for herself in the adult entertainment, industry, advocating for, mental health, which to me, I mean, yay, everyone needs mental health, but also shooting fish in a barrel because daddy issues much in the adult health industry. This was her coworker, and I believe the 2 of them, along with several other doctors, pardon my giggling, there is going to be a lot of giggling. Hey, guys. Oh, they dated for 2 years. So Gareth and her dated for 2 years. They created a, advocacy group for the adult, film industry for to find mental health, um, people that would not look down on what they were doing. So that's great. Now, it does have the most hilarious name of Pineapple Advocacy Group, which for, reasons, the pineapple has been unfortunately linked to all the terrible things, that, everyone knows the pineapple means all the things. Oh, I am having all the audio issues as per usual because I didn't turn it on because I'm a genius. Well, um, so during this time, she's also rising to fame. I think she is on Tony Braxton had a, reality show. She made she wrote a book called, oh gosh, what was it called? Uh, the new Bible for the new sex Bible for women, something or other. We're getting the book. David nearly got Sal yeeted because he showed all the nippular areas because we didn't realize it had all the nippular areas in full color. She was engaged to Drew Carey. That relationship fizzled because she wasn't really a fan of all of the sort of fame and attention. She runs into Gareth after 8 years at the adult film, kind of gala, I guess, red carpet. I didn't realize they had adult film awards. Now I have another thing that I really wanna go to before my life ends for reasons. He has, and this witness talked about yesterday, so if you wanna go back to that stream, kind of a mental breakdown. He blames, Dr. Amy Harwick for his life turning to poo after they got separated. He claims that there was a deep and dark depression he fell into. It was just, you know, he, like, broke down crying snot bubbles, just awfulness. So she spent some time trying to talk him down, but basically was trying to disengage, like, "No, I don't wanna get back together with you. No, I'm not going to, dissect and relitigate our relationship. Like, I'm sorry that you've had a terrible time, but I'm not doing this again, okay?" Um, he then for 2 weeks, found her new number through the phone. She blocked him. She beefed up her security. She talked to friends. She emailed herself giving kind of a rundown of what happened at the gala, how scared she was, got new, Ring door cameras around her house. She was very frightened. Uh, different different things. So about 2 weeks after that, on Valentine's Day, she goes out with friends to a burlesque show. He, on the other hand, decides to break into her house, uh, without any stealth, just all the face on on the cameras, just breaks into her house, and he's going to confront her. He does have a capped syringe of liquid nicotine. Um, Now the defense and the state are going to have different reasons why he brought that, so that's in conjecture, but the state will contend that it is enough to kill someone and that he was going to kill Amy with it. The defense is going to contend that he was there to unalive himself, so but what does happen is that when she gets home, she is ambushed, according to the state. He begins to fight and attempts to strangle her. Now, through the course of this fight, they end up on her balcony and she falls off, and between the strangulation and the fall from the balcony on the 3rd floor, she dies. What the defense says is between a combination of his SADs, uh, he lovingly chokes her. Now she's trying to get away, and they do have an expert that says one of the plausible, um, you know, uh, allegedly, one of the possible explanations of how she fell is that she was attempting to escape from him and was hanging on the other side of the railing of the balcony. Now, even the judge said you could tell the judge was about done with the defense with that one. But, yeah, I go back and watch my I was about done with it. It was the most if Sarah Boone and Daryl Brooks had defenses had a baby, that would be their defense, like, had made me mad, she wouldn't talk to me, and it was unintentional, like, if those 2 had an illegitimate love child, that would be their defense. Now, this particular witness right here that we're coming back into is the second witness. The first witness, for the state was the woman who actually the housing setup was rather weird, so it looks like Amy got permission from her next door neighbor to put cameras up on a walkway that was kind of adjacent to where she was living, but would catch, you know, her patio area where she would sometimes go into her front door. Look, the again, I would encourage you guys to go to the opening statement. The prosecutor did great job with, their opening. They had really good graphics that showed how the house was set up because she Amy did have, um, a roommate, so it kind of really shows the good layout and how everything was, and, you know, it just makes more sense because I am definitely not one to understand spatial distances at all. So had they, just used a whiteboard or even like Nicholas's trial, I would have been lost. Jamie, I didn't know if you were gonna be on with Nicholas or not Nicholas, for the love of goodness, with David, so if you want an invite, I will send you one right now. Was taking Mr. Fribert for a walk, and he was all, "No, get me a stroller," which I am this close to getting a stroller, and I I will be okay with shaming. Look, I am somewhat ashamed of myself for even looking at a stroller. But in my defense, it sometimes helps me walk. Uh, One second, I need to make sure that car siren I'm hearing is not, my car, which could be bad. So one second, I will start playing this. This is, I call him Doctor Friendzone Guy, but I will be right back.
You find out that she had been killed. Objection relevant.
Oh, no. No, that's,
I received a phone call. I believe it was the 16th of February, Sunday.
versus Pursehouse, both, all jurors are present, including the alternates. The witness has retaken the stand. Mr. Chavez, just a reminder, you're still under oath. We have all counsel present and the defendant. Who is inquiring?
I was here.
Mr. Avila, you may continue.
Good morning, Dr. Chavez. Good morning. I think the last few questions I asked were about the text message from Amy Harwick regarding her fear of what could happen. Is that correct? Yes. And she indicated to you that she wanted to get more security around her home. Yes. After that, but before February 15th, 2020, did you have any more conversations with her? We spoke periodically throughout the couple of weeks afterwards, yes. And when did you find out that she had been killed?
Objection relevant. Oh, no. No, that's,
I received a phone call. I believe it was the 16th of February, Sunday. You have one moment, Ron?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you remember the date when you were first interviewed
Oh,
by detectives?
duh. Okay, so I was gonna tell you guys, was possibly me trying to help me. So I realize why I have a visceral dislike of him. It's because he looks exactly like the guy on my HOA that I may or may not call, douchey McFuckface. Um, I give everyone nicknames. The other guy I call, well, douchey McBaggins. Look, if you're short and you're a jerk, I'll call you a hobbit.
Detectives.
I do not remember that date.
Would that be on or about February 18th, 2020, about 3 days, about 4 days after Valentine's Day?
Yes, that sounds right.
And did you tell him everything you knew about Amy's fears of the defendant?
Yes,
Did you tell him about what you observed at the XBiz Award show?
yes,
Did you tell him about going to the Bob's Big Boy and what she told you at the Bob's Big Boy?
yes.
And during the interview, did they ask you about how the defendant came into telephone contact with Amy Hardwick?
Yes.
And what did you say on February 18th, 2020?
At that time, I had not gone through my phone, pictures, or text messages because of grief. So, in that meeting, a few days after her death, I mistakenly and erroneously said that I thought she may have given her number to Gareth.
And when were you led to believe that that was incorrect?
Once I went back to look through the text messages, and then the screenshots were then sent to the police for evidence.
And the text message you're talking about is the one dated January 17th, 2020, where she states, Gareth found my number online, message me, which is People's number 10, page G. Is that correct?
Yes.
So then that was the correct, then was your mind corrected as far as that information?
Yes.
I have nothing further now.
Cross-examination, Mr. Franzel.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Dad just wanted to show you to his friend and then brought you right back.
Good morning.
No respect for nap time.
I'd just like to talk about the timing of the event briefly. The XBiz Awards was on January 16th, 2020, right?
Yes.
That was a Thursday.
Yes.
You Uber to Miss Harwood's house.
Yes.
That is in the Hollywood Hills, kind of Beechwood Canyon area.
Yes.
And you get to her house around 7 p.m.
Between 6:30 and 7.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at a text chain with you and Miss Hardwick?
If there was, yeah, that would be. I knew I was running late. There was an accident on the freeway that I had texted her about.
If I may approach.
Go ahead.
So if you could just read those first 3 text messages in the text chain and look up when you're done, please.
Which part?
Yeah, Coach.
Yeah. Did that refresh your recollection?
Yes, it did.
And so you arrived at Miss Harwood's house around right before 7 p.m., right?
Yes.
And the 2 of you get into her car.
Yes.
And you drive to the JW Marriott, which is right by LA Live.
If
Yes.
we want to play, you can go down.
Do you
You wanna
happen to
nap, you
remember
can stay up.
the 101 or some other way?
Put some relevance.
That's sustained.
It's roughly 8 miles, right?
Okay.
I have a Google map that I'd like to mark as Defense A.
Yes, Mark.
Showing it to council.
Yes.
Good morning, Bunny.
Okay. Do you recognize this Google map, sir?
Yes.
Is this a Google map that appears to depict the route between 2086 Mound Street and the JW Marriott?
Yes.
Publishing Defense A. So between her house and the location of the event was about 8 miles. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you're driving there on a Thursday evening at about 7 p.m., right?
Yes.
So would you say it took you to probably about 15 or 20 minutes to get there?
That sounds accurate. Yes.
And you parked at the LA Library, right?
No, we parked at the JW Marriott parking structure.
This event at the JW Marriott was on multiple floors, right?
Predominantly one floor. They have a downstairs lobby, but that wasn't a part of the events themselves.
So you enter in through the street level,
Yes.
and there's a lobby,
Yes.
and then you go upstairs, and that's where the event was?
Yes.
Okay. Where was the red carpet?
Directly adjacent from the ballroom.
And that was also upstairs.
Yes.
So the motive is that he blames Dr. Amy Harwood for ruining his life the 8 years after they broke up 8 years previously. He lost his job because he was unable to concentrate. He was deeply depressed. So he claims that his life has been crap ever since that 8 years, and that meeting her at the adult film gala 2 weeks prior to her unaliving triggered a psychotic break, almost a deep depression, almost to the point of near mania, he said, or almost a psychotic break. This lawyer does the autofill repeat of every witness just saying, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This defense attorney has not endeared me to him. I don't like the way I don't like this defense, but with the amount of evidence he left with what he did, yeah, no. I wouldn't eat it. I have been told. Look, I'm telling you, arranged marriages, just bring it back. Um, but it's definitely uh, if I were his defense attorney, I would have told him just to plead. This judge is having none of this defense. It's a good thing he didn't ask for a bench trial, because this judge has had enough with him. Judge Bronze Eagle, as I'm going to call him, and thinking Lincoln, he is about done with
Yes.
this man.
And this was a pretty big event, right?
Yes.
A lot of
Yeah, no
people.
nipular areas
Yes.
today. Though we will be
It
talking about
was
her book
crowded,
at some
right?
point, because that's
Decently crowded.
And so the first thing that you do when you get there is get in a line to go take pictures on the red carpet.
Yes.
And you were waiting in line with Ms. Harwick and with Ashley Jameson.
Yes.
Were any other people there in your group that was waiting to get online and take pictures?
There were a few other people that I knew, but they weren't necessarily meeting us there or with us. Just people in line that we knew.
And just for clarity's sake, Ashley Jameson also goes by Aspen Jameson
I believe so.
and Aubrey Tate as well.
Yes.
And after waiting for a few
I'm
minutes,
trying to get
in the line
monetized,
to go
David.
to the red carpet, you leave.
We'll
to
do a
go
Rumble
get other
exclusive.
people's drinks from the bar.
Yes.
You couldn't see the group of your friends that you had just left from the bar line, right?
No, I couldn't.
And on direct, you testified that, well, that about 5 minutes after waiting in the bar line, Miss Jameson called you.
Yes.
She told you to get the F back in line for the red carpet.
Yes.
Let's talk about, let's jump
Good
forward a
morning,
little bit.
Christine, an atheist aunt,
When
and
Mr.
everyone I
Pursehouse
haven't
and
caught.
Ms.
I thought I
Harvick
caught
were
everyone, but if I
having their
didn't.
first conversation, you were in line, waiting, holding the spot in line, right?
Yes.
And you were able to observe both Ms. Harvick's demeanor and Mr. Pursehouse's demeanor.
Yes.
And Mr. Pursehouse, you saw putting his head in his hands,
Yes.
putting his hands on his face,
Yes.
his head dropping down into the lap area in a disappointed manner.
Yes.
It appeared to you that he was in duress,
Yes.
a person in distress.
I'm going to object to the terms that are being used based on prior rulings and requests by the defense.
Well, I think that the court, if obviously you couldn't hear what they were saying.
No.
Well, I'm going to allow it in that it appeared, he can't conclusively say that he was in distress or he was depressed or whatever it is, but it appeared to him from his vantage point, and I'll allow it as such. All right, go ahead.
Right. All I'm, it's clear. It's not like you're next to them during this conversation. Your descriptions are based on what you're observing from the line.
Yes.
And when you walk over to let Amy know that the red carpet was about to close, it appeared to you that Mr. Pursehouse was disappointed that the conversation was ending.
Yes.
During that first conversation, you did not send any text messages to Ms. Harvick.
No.
And Ms. Harvick did not send any text messages to you.
No.
Would it be correct to say that you did not hear Mr. Pursehouse make a verbal threat of violence towards Ms. Harvick? Is that a correct statement?
I consider the use of the word bitch a verbally threatening statement. So no.
My question is, you never heard Mr. Pursehouse make a verbal threat of committing violence on Ms. Harvick?
Objection asked and answered.
Well, no, he's added to that committing violence. Did you ever hear him make a threat in that committing violence, using those words or something to that effect?
Something to that effect.
No, I didn't.
And Ms. Harvick never told you that Mr. Pursehouse made a verbal threat of violence towards her.
No, she didn't.
Ms. Harvick told you that in the past she hadn't been comfortable with.
Oh my God, y'all! Now today, now the other courthouse lady is wearing a nude top. Although, it's never the courthouse lady. It's never twice in a row the courthouse lady you want to see, guys. Sorry.
Mr. Pursehouse working in the adult film industry.
I'm going to object to hearsay.
Sustained.
I'm sorry, Salbert.
You had been to Ms. Harvick's home a dozen times or so, right?
Yes.
And in going to her home a dozen times, you had seen her bed unmade.
Objection relevance.
Sustained.
If I may make an offer of proof.
No, counsel, move on.
I love this judge. Judge Iron Eagle is
On
like,
direct,
no.
You testified that you and Ms. Harvick received your doctoral degrees from the same institution.
Yes.
What is the name of that institution?
The Institute for the Advanced Study of Human Sexuality. It was a private school in San Francisco.
Well, okay. Sal, if you would, sweetie, we need to look at this for the next stream. I'll start looking it up. I have a hard stop at 12, guys. So I'm going to try not to pause as much, even though I am humanly incapable of such with ADHD on 11. I laugh at my feral one, but I do have it at 11. So we will do that, but I will definitely be looking up the credentials and we will be doing a deep dive on this school because this sounds hilarious and it is in San Francisco. oh, this is gonna be fun. We're gonna look at the brochure and everything. I'm sure they have pamphlets. It's gonna be awesome. Oh, crud. I need to edit this. I did not do the layout right because I thought I did. I thought I had it. No, not that way. Oh, come on now. Do what you are a thing. Do what you're supposed to do. I feel like you are not listening to me. Horizontal alignment, yes. We did that. Oh, you are such a pain in my okay, there we go. Safe. Gotta love when I'm like
Yeah.
and for free, you get to listen to me yell at my formatting thing.
Yeah.
Good morning, Jamie.
Hi.
So we're back at friend zone, and apparently I just I envision this judge going in and turning down everyone's microphone just a touch so that his mic will be the loudest. Thank you. Thank you, Twisted. I was aware. Yeah, there oh, it's unaccredited? My shock. I can't imagine. Give it a year or 2.
Yeah, I was I was watching it this morning.
I'll probably do
I
a
thought we were
separate
gonna start
video of it.
at 10, and I was like, she's on already? Oh my gosh. So
Well, because I forgot until just this morning that I do have an appointment at 1, and it takes a little bit to
yeah.
oh, well, I mean, look, I didn't wanna maybe look, if I said that, then I didn't wanna get people mad at me because maybe I was profiling or something. So,
Now, after the XBiz Awards,
you can't
you
ever
and Miss
win.
Cartwright send each other photographs
Yeah, I'll
that
probably do
you each
a
had taken
separate
that
video
night.
so we can get
Yes.
through
Do you
mornings.
recall whether you sent those photographs after you each had gotten home that night, or were you in person, sending to each other in person?
I believe we sent them at Bob's Big Boy together. She sent all of hers. I sent all of mine.
You knew Miss Cartwright for a long time, right?
Yes.
And she was an athletic person, right?
Yes.
Went on runs.
I'm gonna object relevance.
Well, I'll allow some leeway. It'll stand that she was an athletic person. So let's move on from there.
This is my final question.
Go ahead.
She had a background in dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Answer stands.
So
And his answer was yes.
thank you. I want now to talk about the statement that on direct you said you heard Mr. Pursehouse make. Specifically, you ruined my life, bitch. On direct, you testified that after you received the call from Miss Jameson, you went back to where she was.
Yes.
That you first checked in with her.
Yes.
When you were checking in with her, where were Miss Harwick and Mr. Pursehouse?
They had walked over to a bench against the wall in line of sight of where we were in line.
When you were
Listen, I wasn't gonna tell you guys, but I designed their website, okay? I was very proud of it. I got the PowerPoints and everything.
It was probably
I
me.
used word art, and I did shading, and I did the little, words that curve and all of it. It's like neon yellow Liza Frank, whatever her name was. Yeah, she was
Liza
athletic.
Frank.
She was athletic. Like, again, she's gonna American Ninja her way down. It's like she could have parkoured.
But what does that even matter? It's so stupid.
Again, this defense makes no sense unless you go with, "I had a psychotic break. I was insane." He's trying to go with, "I had the SADS, but also she's just clumsy, but not really clumsy." I
But when
You're
that
joking.
I like in the moment, like you can't say I had the SADS and then like go do it later on. You know what I mean? It's I don't know.
Yeah, it's well, and that's the thing. It makes no sense what he's trying to say, "Look, I consciously went over there to talk to her, consciously." Then you're trying to use crime of passion, like, "Well, we got into it and bad things happened, but ultimately, she made the choice to flee from me." Oh,
Jesus, the barking. Sorry.
no, it's all the, like, make it make sense. Like,
Mhm.
"Sir, you're not gonna get away with it. Also, I thought that they had weight yards in prison." Like, his mom has been funding his honey bun fund all the time. She's like, "You need some more Little Debbies?" He's like, "Yeah, mom, I'm all the sads." He better get his ass up there and try to tell a joke. Jonathan, have fun, be safe on your errands, and thanks for being part of the replay crew. That is awesome, and we appreciate it.
Bye, Jonathan.
Yeah, I
You were
just don't
checking in
understand this
with Ms.
defense. I
Jameson.
mean,
Were they already seated at the bench?
Yes.
They were no longer in line at that moment when you were checking with Ms. Jameson.
Yes.
You testified at a preliminary hearing in this case, right?
Yes, I did.
And at that preliminary hearing, that was under oath, right?
Yes.
Just like today.
Yes.
And when you testified on September 22nd, 2021, you specifically testified that you heard this statement as you were walking up when they were exiting the line.
I heard that statement as I walked up to them seated at the benches.
I think that was Jamie's
My
puppy.
question is, when you testified at the preliminary hearing, isn't it true that you testified that you, and I quote,
Which page, Council?
page 12 of volume 4, it's day 2 of this testimony, and this is at line 27. Something I heard as I was walking up when they were exiting the line was, you ruined my life, you bitch. Those were the actual words I heard.
Okay.
Was that your testimony on the 22nd?
If that's what the transcripts say, then yes.
So it's your testimony today that it wasn't when they were exiting the line, it was when you walked up to them on the bench that you heard Mr. Pursehouse say, you ruined my life, bitch.
Yes.
Now, detectives interviewed you on February 18th, 2020, right?
Yes.
And that would have been Detective Masterson and Detective Carranza.
Yes.
And that was a month and 2 days after the XBiz Awards.
Okay. Yes.
And so that would be close in time to when the XBiz Awards happened, right?
It would be about a month after the awards and about 5 days after. No, 5 days after her murder. Yes.
I have a CD that I'd like to mark as defense B. The February 18th detective interview.
Should establish a foundation for why you're playing that?
I think it's the same.
What was the joke,
No,
Sal?
I haven't heard a
I
foundation.
have no
Isn't it true
idea.
that- What? And he denies it, then what?
Isn't it true that when you were interviewed by the detectives on February 18th, you specifically said that you were not the person that heard the statement, you ruined my life, bitch?
I don't think that's the case. I don't remember saying that.
I do have a transcript to pass out, Your Honor.
Well, I'd like to.
That council see it.
Okay, so this case boiled down to its really short 5 minutes. Ex-boyfriend, they break up. 8 years later, he runs into ex-girlfriend, uh, says she ruined his life, and 2 weeks after that, he unalives her. Now mix into that, she is a famous Hollywood therapist that mainly works with adult film stars, um, and was formerly engaged to Drew Carey from The Price is Right and The Drew Carey Show. Uh, Hollywood sex trials, adult film stars, shenanigans, just all of it.
Yep.
So this trial is gonna be crazy. The judge seems to viscerally hate this attorney for some reason. They should let the female attorney talk unless he really double hates her. I every time the defense attorney tries to do anything, this judge is like, "Nah, nah."
I mean, it's stupid. He's on
Yeah.
camera. It's very clear.
Yeah, and basically when they ran into each other, this Gareth Pursehouse what had a almost hysterical sobbing, snot bubble crying reaction and was heard by several people, according to witnesses, to say, "You ruined my life, you be." And there will be many dark, humor and, Price is Right jokes. So, again, we cope through dark humor. If this is not your cup of tea, I would leave now. There will just be bad, bad jokes.
Mhm. And not just his jokes. Ew. He should go to jail just for those jokes that he told.
Oh,
so.
yeah, and Gareth, if you go back to any other streams, Gareth did try at one point, and I stress the word try, to be a stand-up comedian, and, it was terrible, terrible, terrible. Uh, it it felt longer than the 3 minutes he was up there. It was awful. So but we made it fun because we were there making fun of him.
Yeah.
Yes, so also, this trial, the judge did not allow it to be live streamed, so this is yesterday's testimony. I will be doing most of the mornings and then trying to hop on with Sal and Excited Underends as they do the afternoon/evening parts as they come out. And that's basically how we'll be doing this. I will also now be doing a video about this unlicensed Sexiversity that they got their little certificate from the not University of DeVry of Sexology um, from San Francisco. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Sal sent me all the links, so I'm sure Mr. Mo will be super happy that our computer now has the clap.
I love it.
Yeah, this has all the shenanigans. I'm surprised no one else none of the bigger channels have picked this up because this has all the sex, weirdness, adult film stars, Drew Carey, judge that looks really a lot like either Mr. Feeney or Mr. Hankety Clankety from WW2, who also has bronze eagles, you know. He's not doing himself any favor with that mustache and then the bronze eagles, flanking his desk.
Well, now I want to see it. He does look so different, the defendant.
Yes, the defendant was and the deputy, is hopefully getting more steps in than he you know, as a person who ate her feelings for the last from August to March of last year, I'm trying not to body shame, but come on, we can all do a little bit better. We can all do just a tiny bit better, a touch better. Hopefully, that's water in that thermos, and, you know, Well, there's Diet Pop in mine, but, what can you do?
Well, I mean,
I intend to oh, for the love of Cheetos. Hell no.
In your statement to detectives on February 18th, 2020, you specifically told them that you were not the one that heard Mr. Pursehouse say, "You ruined my life, bitch." Isn't that true?
If that's what the transcripts say.
I'm going to object as the response is calling for speculation.
Well, do you recall independently as you sit here whether you stated that, sir?
Honestly, I do not, because
Okay, all
that
right,
interview was a blur.
all right, everything's a blur, okay?
Would it refresh your recollection to look at the transcript of the testimony or of your statement to detectives?
I didn't
Yes.
refresh your recollection. Okay, go ahead. You can approach, counsel.
Iris.
Oh, no, Sal's helping me out because the afternoons really are a poop shoot for me, especially with the new school. I'm in charge of
Yes.
transportation, so and I can't forget to pick up the boys because,
Mhm. Well, it's hard to do a stream all day long.
Read, this
It
is
it
page
really
7,
is.
line 20, and if you could read that entire paragraph
To yourself, sir.
to yourself.
To myself?
Yes.
I really don't think this hurts the state as much as the defense thinks it does, because other people heard him say it, regardless of if Dr. Friendzone wasn't the one that heard him, immediately say it. Honestly, the bailiff has really skinny hands for being such a large man. Usually the wedding ring is totally swallowed up, but he has really thin hands. Sorry, ADHD noticing things like
This is now page 8. If you could please read.
It's what we do.
I know. I'm like, but notice his hands.
Proper context.
Mhm.
All right.
4 to 11?
That's fine.
I mean, 1 to 11.
He looks like he's got really manicured nails too.
Yeah, I mean, he's got nice hand. Look, I'm a hands
Maybe that's
person too.
what he's got
Hands
going for
and
him. He takes care of it.
you know what? Maybe that's his goal thing that he works on to he's like, "Look, I lost 10 pounds. I'm gonna go
Did
get
that
my
refresh your
manicure."
recollection?
My bad.
Yes.
And
Oh,
isn't it
Lord.
true
Val,
that you
damn it.
told
Why don't I
detectives on
read your things
February
before I
18th,
so Iris, this is, okay, so I'm gonna try not to giggle. This is a sort of mentor and the licensed family therapist. Dr. Amy Harwick was actually a licensed family and marriage therapist with a I didn't know you could specialize in sexology or what have you, but she did specialize in that. And this particular doctor had specialized in that further. So he was sort of a mentor friend, and then he kind of helped her break into get acquainted with the adult film arena and mental health in that particular arena, and then they also sort of, helped create the pineapple advocacy group. Again, just call it the vibrator, let me buy pineapples without giggling like a ridiculous person every time I'm in Walmart, please. Because now I'm gonna giggle every time, the youngest feral one who loves pineapples picks one up.
Great.
So he's not a detective, he is, a fellow therapist.
that uh, it was according to what Ms. Jameson and what Ms. Harvard told you that Mr. Pursehouse said, "You ruined my life, bitch."
In other words, you didn't hear it yourself.
I did hear it myself.
You did hear it
Yes.
yourself. Okay.
the question though is what you told detectives. Isn't it true that you told detectives?
Yes,
either
according to that
verbatim-
transcript, yes, that's what I said to them at that time.
Okay. So at that time, you told them that it
I
wasn't
know.
you
Had
who
I
heard
known
that
there was a
statement.
school for this, I would have gone, and
At the
I would have at
time
least
of
graduated
speaking to the
college.
detectives, because of the grief and the shock that I was experiencing, there was a lot of pieces to that puzzle.
Um, I believe he did have a jacket on last or yesterday. I don't know. You know, but also, for all you men out there, the other court reporter is wearing a nude shirt today, so feast your eyes and despair.
To that experience that were difficult to recollect. And for example, it wasn't until about a year and a half later that I remembered what we actually ate at Bob's Big Boy. And I think that's
She had moons
the
over my
idea of
hammy,
clarity
and he
coming
had
up
the grand
over
slam.
time
I've
is
been there before.
important because that's
I have to
shock.
Like
object at
the-
this point because it's non-responsive.
I have no idea what I've never been there.
Well, Big Boy, you know what Big Boy is? Like the restaurants, the chain restaurants.
You know, I think they had one in Indiana, and I don't think they went over very well. Oh, Sal, no, this is the old one. The older woman is now wearing a nude shirt. That's why I said feast your eyes in despair.
Well, they have like one original like in California, and it's like a big
Oh,
yes. And I went there for work, and one of my coworkers is like weirdly obsessed with things like that. So they're like, let's go there. So we went there. I
did
mean,
you
it
go
was
to the
like
big
a
donut
fine-
place?
Huh?
Did you go to the big donut place with, like, the big circle donut thing?
We didn't get to do a lot of fun stuff, but
Ugh.
we got to eat out a lot because obviously they give us money to do. And he's like, we got to go there. I was like, why? But it's a thing, I guess. It's like a big deal. And I got a little mug from it. Anyways.
Well, he's explaining why he didn't understand. So you can move on, and
Sure.
his answer will remain that he was in shock and so forth, and things came. The recollection came slowly after that. Is that correct?
Yes. And
Okay, let's ask your next question.
And so, what you told detectives there in that interview on February 18th was a mistake.
yes.
You actually had heard that statement.
Yes.
Now, when you were talking to detectives on February 18th, you
There you go,
wanted
Sal,
to
just
tell
for
them
you.
everything
Good
important
look.
that had happened at the
There
exit
she
report,
is.
right?
I think I tried to, yes.
You wanted to give them as much
Sal
relevant
in love.
information to help their investigation, right?
I think so, yes.
And you were obviously trying to tell the truth, right?
To the best of my recollection, I was trying to help, yes.
Now, in that interview with the detectives specifically made a point to tell you, look, we need to speak to that person who heard that statement from Mr. Pursehouse, right?
Okay.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And that finding that person who heard that statement will be incredibly important, right?
Okay, yes.
They told you that they needed somebody with personal firsthand knowledge, right?
Yes.
And you told them that you would contact that person right away.
Yes.
You said that you actually had contacted one of the people that was in the line with Miss Harwick when Mr. Pursehouse approached, but that person didn't remember anything.
Yes.
And that
Is there a response to that?
No.
Did you say yes, sir?
I said yes.
All right.
and that Miss Jameson was in like Mexico or Costa Rica or something, that when she got back, you talked to her.
Yes.
And you did. After the interview, you did in fact contact Miss Jameson.
Yes.
And you told her she needed to talk to the detectives.
I passed along the detectives' information to her to contact them, yes.
Specifically so that she could tell them what she heard.
Yes.
So it's your testimony today that mistake you made when you were talking to the detectives about
Okay,
not hearing that statement.
There's a glitch in the matrix.
That mistake was a mistake you made because you were in shock.
Yes.
I have no idea.
Um,
This is
Now, isn't it, so it's fair to say your testimony is that state of shock affected your memory.
Yes.
Isn't it true that when you first arrived into the room for that interview with the detectives, you and the detectives kind of joked around a little bit?
It's likely, yes.
You made some comment about how the room smelled bad, but
Counsel, let's move on. Ask your questions, if you will, please.
Okay, so you all kind of chuckled and smiled. You remember that?
Yes.
Again, counsel, let's move on.
I have 3 more questions.
Okay, go ahead.
You made small talk about.
All right. Did this lawyer run into his car? Did he poop on his lawn? What the hell did this lawyer do to this judge? Because this lawyer, did he clerk for him at one day and forget did he bounce a check at his family's store? I mean,
Probably slept with his mother-in-law. That's the answer to everything.
this judge is in full F around find out son mode, and I don't. I mean, it's fun to watch, but I worry that this guy is going to get out on appeal because the judge showed clear bias, and I feel like again, let the lady lawyer stand up and talk, unless she also slept with the mother-in-law.
Everyone has. Oh my God.
Oh
I
Lord.
need some water.
Okay. Okay, let's see if
Computers and different things.
Yes.
So for you personally, in that moment, you were able to still kind of make jokes and be social while in shock.
At that time and after her murder, I still interacted with people. I still worked and saw clients. And what you're describing, I think, is humor as a defense mechanism. People will cope with grief and loss and shock in different ways.
And for you, both things were possible. You can feel shock and deep sadness and also be able to do those things that you're describing, right?
Yes.
On direct, you testified about Miss Harwick's demeanor that night. I'd like to talk about that briefly. So you testified that initially, going to the event, that she was excited,
Yes.
that she was thrilled, right?
Yes.
But that after running into Mr. Pursehouse, her mood changed.
Yes.
I think one of the descriptions you used was that she almost became like a ghost.
Yes.
And kind of similar to what you were describing about your ability to function and use humor as a defense mechanism, she, at the Expos Awards, was able to put on a face, right?
Yes.
She was able to smile for the pictures on the red carpet.
Yes.
You introduced her to friends at the event.
Yes.
From your observations of her, it is your testimony that you believe she was experiencing negative emotions, but still was able to go through the motions of being at a social event and being kind of on, basically.
Yes.
On direct, you testified that you realized you had made a separate mistake about Miss Harwick providing her phone number to Mr. Pursehouse.
Yes.
And just briefly, the mistake that you made was in your interview with the detectives, you erroneously told them that Miss Harwick had provided her phone number to Mr. Pursehouse.
Yes.
At some point, you reviewed the transcript of your interview with the detectives.
Yes.
And in reviewing that transcript, you realized that mistake that you made.
Yes.
And so what you did is you went back through your text messages with Ms. Harwick, and you took a screenshot of the text message that was shown to you by Mr. Avila,
Yes.
showing that she said something along the lines that that she didn't give him.
But Gareth found her number online.
Right.
Yes.
Now, After reviewing your transcript of the interview with detectives, you did not tell them that you had made a mistake about not hearing.
Let's move on from that issue. Let's move on.
That he never corrected that. That's all I'm asking.
Did you ever apprise the detectives that that was incorrect?
I don't know when I did, but I did eventually. I'm not sure what the date was.
Okay, but you didn't do the same thing that you did with this other error after reading the transcript. You didn't tell the detectives, oh, I made this other mistake. I said somebody else heard the statement, but in fact, I did hear the statement. You never did that.
Fiction.
You just said at some point he did. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know when?
I do not know.
Your testimony at the preliminary hearing was on September 21st, 2021. If you recall.
I don't know, but I'll trust it. That's the date.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at a face page of?
That's okay. Let's go on with it. That's what the court will take note. Is that the date?
It is.
Okay.
That's the date of his first day of testimony.
All right.
And so that's over
Yes,
a year.
we need a petty judge cam. I don't know if David can call the court and apprise them that chat demands judge face cam just for all the like is Judge one day from retirement, because he is full Danny Glover, like Lethal Weapon 8. I'm too old for this shit, ready to retire. He's not, because like Borowski is at, Predator 2, like sweaty Danny Glover, afraid of heights. I'm too old for this shit, but he's still going to be in 8 Lethal Weapons.
Mm.
But this guy's like Lethal Weapon 8. I don't even know how Chris Rock got in here. Kind of.
A year and a half after your interview with the detectives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Prior to the interview with the detectives on February 18th, 2020, you had been consuming a lot of media about the case.
Yes.
Prior
I
to
don't know.
your testimony at the preliminary hearing, you also had been consuming a lot of media about the case.
Yes.
You were reading everything you could find about it.
I think it's when a friend or family member is murdered in such a horrific manner, it's natural for people to want to seek out the truth or understand what happened.
Okay. So is that a yes, that you were reading everything that you could find about it?
I think in the first month or so, yes, I did read.
You wanted to know as much as possible about the case as you could.
Yes.
That reading about it helped you understand what happened.
It helped me process. One of my closest friends was murdered. Yes. I wanted to understand who did it and why and what happened.
Bye, Jonathan.
Hello.
Prior to your testimony at the
Good day.
preliminary hearing, you were interviewed by Detective Masterson, right?
Yes.
And Mr. Avila,
Yes.
and another deputy district attorney, Mr. Dryling.
Yes.
And that interview was not recorded.
I don't know if it was recorded or not.
Did they tell you that it was being recorded?
I cannot recall.
And in that interview, prior to your testimony at the preliminary hearing, you didn't tell them that your memory had changed and that you remembered hearing that statement yourself.
Again, counsel, we keep going back to that. Let's leave that issue. Let's move on. Make your
There's
point.
also foundation if he was asked that question.
Okay. But the question was, did you tell him? So they don't need to ask him for him to volunteer. So let's move on if you would.
And
I will
prior
say
to your
Iris
testimony
is
yesterday
super
and today,
sweaty,
did you
like
speak
all
with
the sweaty.
The detective or the
It was hot as hell in LA, dude.
about
I don't
the
know.
Yes.
when?
I don't know the exact
Hi,
date, but it was
Jonathan.
within the last couple of weeks. I went to review my transcripts.
And
Chambers,
did you discuss
now.
your testimony?
No.
Do you know if that conversation was recorded?
I don't know.
Okay, so let's go back to the Expas event. And let's talk about that second conversation between Ms. Harwick and Mr. Pursehouse. So it was your testimony that about 10 minutes before the end of the program, Mr. Pursehouse approaches the table that you and Ms. Harvick were seated at, right?
Yes.
Were you and Ms. Harvick sitting next to each other?
Yes.
And he kneels down to talk to her, right?
Yes.
And he spoke in her ear.
Yes.
And even though you were sitting next to her, you couldn't hear what he was saying.
No.
And so he was speaking in a low volume.
More like a whisper into someone's ear. Yeah.
And you understand.
Maybe not. I don't know if he intentionally did it. Look, if your friend was horrifically killed and looking back at it, you had, well, hello,
Hello.
backlit Dave.
Hey,
So,
I'm busy at the office, but I can't stream, but I figured I'd come on here. Chit chat with
Back-
the
So-
ladies.
Dave.
I do have an actual lawyer question. The fact that the judge seems to have absolutely no chill with this lawyer, is this an appealable kind of thing?
Not really. I mean,
Oh,
how are
okay.
you going to prove it? You have to really get the judge to say something really bad. Like if for example, the judge was sitting up there and pontificating about how we, meaning the judge and the prosecution, are going to
yeah.
be handling this case and addressing the strategy of the case,
Yeah.
then it potentially is an appealable issue. But just because the
Okay.
judge has a bad attitude towards the defense, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's appealable.
Even if he's like
Okay.
shutting down his questions.
I mean, it depends. If he's not allowing him to make a record of the issue, that could be something significant. I've had a judge that didn't allow me to make a record of the issue when he was accusing my client of violating bond, and every time I went to speak, he cut me off, and I wasn't able. And I even said, "Judge, I need to make a record here," and I'd start talking again, and then he cut me off again. That's an appealable issue. It's actually to the point where I filed a grievance against the judge.
Okay.
I was curious. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering because the judge seems to be in like full F around find out with this particular attorney, and
Yeah, I'm
he
just
seems
saying
to
he
be
can't
picking at it.
he can't disallow. Then you're talking about a violation of due process, right?
Okay.
If he's doing it to the extent that the defense's right to due process is being hindered, then absolutely yes. So there's just levels, I guess.
Well, I mean, he does keep going back to this one particular question where this particular witness says that he heard a statement. However, in his first initial police interview, he said he didn't hear the statement, but now on the stand, he claims that he, in fact, was in a state of shock and now remembers it. And the judge said, okay, do you now believe that you heard it, to the witness on the stand? And he said, yes, I believe I heard it at the time and I misspoke at the police interview. So the defense attorney keeps trying to circle back to the question about the police interview. So is that a tacit agreement? Reindeer asked.
And so what is the judge doing then in response?
Well, basically, he's saying we've addressed this, move on. He seems to want to keep the defense attorney seems to be meandering with his questions and then trying to circle back Jen Psaki style to this, but you still say you didn't hear, this particular thing. So
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how pervasive it is. It could rise to the level of disallowing this defendant due process rights by hampering his attorney's ability to, cross this witness. It just depends. But it's not just because he's being mean to me, therefore, you have to couch it in some sort of due process issue.
okay. And it said, Chris Mullins said, and coincidentally, they were not able to find any other witness who did hear the statement, but now he remembers hearing it.
Well,
And
I
then-
mean, that's the perfect thing for cross-examination, so long as the judge
Yeah.
allows him to go into it. Right?
Well, he has let him go into it to the point that, he did say, yes, you're your statement doesn't match. Do you now believe, and the judge actually questioned the witness, do you now believe that you heard the statement? And the witness said, yes, I now believe that I heard the statement. I was in a state of shock when I was at the police interrogation. I made
So you
several
remember better
mistakes.
now than you did closer to
Yeah.
the events.
Yes. My friend had just been violently murdered.
But he heard
So
the statement before she was murdered. So how do you just forget that and then it comes back to you? I don't know.
Well, things.
telling you
and
what the man
memories and
says,
stuff.
I have nose ideas.
I'm not arguing with you. I just think some of that stuff is so stupid.
Well, I honestly, people can, make up stuff. I feel like people, if they think about it more,
Oh.
might engage it and exaggerate it in their mind.
Oh yeah.
If you really wanted
and,
to
and that's what I
attack it,
think
you
is
need to get
really
an expert.
happening.
But at the end of the day, the only real legal question here is the judge violating the defendant's due process by not allowing his attorney to question this witness the way he wants? And it
No,
just
and
depends on how, I guess, how the judge handles that, whether or not it's an appellate issue. Going back to your original
Indigo.
question.
Gareth whispered in her ear, "We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty." I'm dead.
Oh my god. He's the guy.
We finally found him.
Oh my god.
So who's on the stand right now?
So right now, this is her sort of mentor in the family therapy slash adult industry mental health awareness advocacy sort of arena. And he was with her when she ran into Gareth again after an 8-year sort of estrangement, and Gareth lost his daggone mind and sort of verbally accosted
What is
her.
it that this woman had over him?
No idea.
I mean,
Gareth,
she literally wrote the book on sex, so maybe it was just that good, right?
possibly. No idea. I mean,
How long were
maybe
they
she.
together?
I believe Sal said 2 years, but I believe they lived together for 1.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, they lived
And then
together, or they lived together for 1 year, but, or I mean, sorry, they dated for 1 year, but I can't remember what he said, something like that.
yeah, they did something, and then
Salvador, put it in the chat.
yeah, then she had to take out 1 or 2 restraining
18
orders
months.
because he broke into her house. After that, then it kind of went dormant for 8 years.
Oh, it's a reverse Jody.
Yeah.
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 So it
maybe
went
he was
dormant.
literally just
Yeah.
just a weirdo and he was obsessed with her.
You
Yeah.
think this guy
But
had a thing for the good doctor?
Yeah.
You said friend.
yeah,
zone
that's
doctor
why I
guy?
call him
Yeah.
Dr. Friendzone guy. Because he was like, "Do you need me to stay with you? I'll protect you." And I was like, "Sir, you are 5'4".
He was trying to slip into her DMs.
He was trying to slip the P and the V, you know it.
Well, but I
I
have
don't
been
s-
told by other chatters that he might not bat for her team, so I just put friend zone guy because I forgot his name.
No, he seems like the obsessed, pathetic friend.
I need your new little starred image there. Your little of you sitting with the black and white and the star.
Oh,
I
yeah,
need that
I've
for
got
me.
it. Excited Utterance did it for me because she's really good at all the stuff,
Yes.
and I'm horrible at all the things. But
Dan's
let's get
on
back.
it.
Understand from what Ms. Harper told you that he had asked to speak to him again, right?
Yes.
And she agreed.
Yes.
So, does she get up and go talk to him before the program ended, or right when the program ended?
He walked away from the table. We stayed at the table until the end of the show, and then she got up and said, "I'm going to go talk in the same bench area."
And you testified on direct that initially you didn't go with them to the area that they went.
No.
You remained in the ballroom.
Yes.
How long did you remain in the ballroom?
I mean, people were shuffling out probably 15 to 20 minutes. I mean,
And then after that 15, and after remaining in the ballroom for 15 to 20 minutes, you went out to the area where they were having the conversation.
Yeah.
And you waited there until it was done.
not exactly. I went out there, just checked and leaned my head over. I saw them sitting down there, and then I went back inside of the ballroom to continue talking to some people. And that was when we started exchanging some text messages for the next 15 or 20 minutes, just me checking in to see if she was okay and if they were still talking.
Were you in the room that they were talking and when the conversation ended?
Yes. So once everyone left out of the ballroom, I went outside and then grabbed a chair and sat in the line of sight from the two of them and just waited. So initially they went together outside to
Objection, no
talk.
questions.
All right. Sustained.
I'd like to mark defense, an exhibit that I'd like to mark as defense C.
All right.
It's a screenshot of text message.
Possibly.
And I approach.
Yes.
Can we see some of these exhibits before they're shown to the witness?
Is that just one page?
2 pages.
So that'll be defense C 1 and 2. So if you're making reference to page 1 and page 2.
Oh
Right.
yeah, what a terrible name to have in prison, Pursehouse.
Yeah.
It's almost like, hello, my name is Prison Pocket.
Prison pocket. Your prison purse. Yeah.
Good Lord. Sal, probably true. I mean, she's hot. I'm about as straight as they come, and she was one hot lady. So, yeah. Pursehouse prison. I can just. Maybe that's why he's put on so much weight. I mean, can you imagine the taunts that he gets? Well, never mind.
Yes.
I'm thinking schoolhouse bullying, and I can
Mr.
just see
Travis,
how
do you
terrible
look at
that
these
will
2
go.
pages and tell me if you recognize these pages.
Yes, I recognize both pages.
How do you recognize them?
These are screenshots from my phone, and they are text messages between Amy and I after the show while we were still at the XBiz Awards.
Okay. And so these are
Is
the
this
text
his
messages
defense
we're
attorney's first
sending
case?
back and forth while she is having her conversation.
Honest to God, the first impression I got was of that defense attorney and my cousin Vinny, who had the bad stutter. Like,
He can't even get an exhibit out. I want to mark
Rest.
this as exhibit as the exhibit for
I
the
know.
exhibit.
He's so like flustered.
Morning, Kaiser.
Hey, Kaiser.
Yeah, I'm sure he was an adorable 12-year-old. I feel weird imagining him as a 12-year-old. But good morning. And we're gonna try to see if Baker is having a stream on Saturday and see if he wants to do the Bradley Yon sentencing.
We set one up for 2 p.m. so far.
Yeah, so I don't know. Typically Saturdays are kind of our unwind day, so I don't know if we want to do a sentencing on Saturday. It's kind of up to him. If not, we'll do sentencing on Friday. I'll do it and we'll invite everyone because that man needs some justice 100%. Well, I mean, the lady needs justice, but he needs to be.
Oh my God, that man.
I need to read these before I. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I didn't know because Saturdays are usually our. I don't know.
He just said
Conversation.
casual, so
The
I
second
don't know what it means so far.
conversation with Mr. Pursehouse, right?
Yes.
Publishing C1. So the left is text messages from Miss Harvick, and the right is responses from you, right?
Yes.
And so at 11:23, she tells you, I'm around to the right talking. I'm okay, right?
Yes.
And so did you understand that to mean that she was letting you know where she and Mr. Pursehouse was?
Yes.
That's calling for speculation.
Well, he said, did you take that to mean? And so that's how he understood it, not that it was correct. Go ahead.
You mean,
Yes, I knew where she was at.
well, she's telling you in that text message, she's saying, this is where I am,
Yes.
right?
It's where we talked about her being, and she was there.
And then you respond with the thank you emoji, right?
Yes.
Is that the prayer hands?
Sorry?
Is that the prayer hands emoji?
Is that what that means? Prayer hands?
Prayer
Means
hands.
thank-
Why do emojis look so dumb in court? I always look at my texts as if they're going to be read in court, and I'm like, oh my god, emojis look so
Right.
dumb.
I just
They're
stick with the thumbs
disgusting.
up.
If it was the pray hands emoji, because it says means thank you. No, it's actually. Anyways, never mind.
It's actually what? No, we want to learn.
No.
We wanna
I'm just
learn.
saying, like, these emojis don't mean, like, I don't think they mean what people think they mean sometimes. It's
What do the prayer hand emojis mean?
Wait till they get to the eggplant emojis.
oh, why does that mean thank you? I don't know. It just.
It's,
I'm not.
it's the
not
Arrested
trying to-
Development. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Good lord. That's a case we need to cover, the Betty Broderick case. That was one crazy woman.
Thank you.
I don't think the witness.
Well, their prayer hand, is that how you responded?
Yeah, like more of a prayer, like,
Okay,
thank you.
very good.
God, this judge is amazing.
That's a common
Judge,
emoji for thank you.
Judge Golden
Let's
Eagles
act
is
out all
like,
the
Just,
emojis.
yeah, for, acknowledging and honoring somebody responding to you.
And so your response was right after she sent you that text message at 11:23, right?
I don't know how you guys think she's so hot.
And you ask, still talking, right?
Yes.
She responds, yes.
I mean, she's just a pale,
Yes.
dark.
And so you were asking her, are you still talking to Mr. Pursehouse?
Yes.
And
this judge is like, I just watched the Emojis movie with my grandkids. I know all the things, okay?
you text her, okay, I'll be floating around. I'll walk you to your car.
Yes.
Where's your channel? Man?
Just let me know when you're ready. And there's an arrow that's kind of blocking that, but do you agree that you responded just LMK when you're ready? In other words, just let me know when you're ready.
Yes.
Publishing C2. So after 21 minutes, she responds and she says, okay, just a few minutes, almost done. Right?
Yes.
So she's saying, almost done with the conversation.
I'm gonna object as to calling the witness to speculate as to what else she's saying.
All right. This is staying. The statement speaks for itself. Let's move on.
And then you say,
move on.
are you downstairs or upstairs? Where should I head towards?
Yes.
And so when she was almost done with this conversation, you didn't know where she was.
She was in, so there was the lobby area downstairs where everyone was.
Well, he's trying to
It's not
explain. Let him explain.
The question is, when she sent that text message,
I knew where she was at, but I wanted to
Hold on,
make
don't
sure.
take over each
Oh
other.
my god,
Go ahead.
when she sent that text message,
it's so frustrating.
you
The court reporter in the nude shirt, but not the nude, or not the court reporter that the guys wanted in the nude shirt, is going to stand up and biff both of them on the back of the head.
Listen
judge
to the
will allow it.
question, answer the question, and then let me get the freaking question out before you start answering. I dealt with this just
He's a
last week.
therapist.
He can't listen. How good of a therapist is he if he can't listen?
He's probably not a good therapist.
He's Yeah.
Did not know where she
That's
was.
it.
No. I
And
sent that text message to,
objection.
The answer is no. Go ahead. We'll ask your next question.
And so
David's
she
gonna
tells
come
you
through
where
the
she is.
screen.
She says she's upstairs, right?
yes,
And that she's walking past the bar and that she'll meet you in that main area, right?
yes.
What's with the COVID screen?
It's California. I don't.
Right?
Maybe it's for poo.
It could be more likely that than anything else.
Just finished testifying that you stayed in the ballroom for 15 to 20 minutes.
Yes,
Okay. And then at some point you go and check in on them, but then you go back into the ballroom.
yes,
And then at some point later, you go into the area where they were talking, and you find a chair to sit.
yes.
How long were you sitting in that chair before the conversation ended?
Probably another 10 to 15 minutes until I got tired and everybody was cleared out. And so I wanted to leave. I wanted to end it.
And you walked over and told them, I want to go.
Yeah.
I have in my hand what I'd like to mark as Defense D, which is a CD with an excerpt from the detective interview. I'm gonna
Okay,
show
again.
counsel the transcript.
See that as well.
My approach.
Yes. Not certain. what-
Prior inconsistent statement, Your Honor.
What happened?
I believe he's trying to impeach him with another prior inconsistency.
Yeah, but it just went quiet all of a sudden.
Okay, let's approach.
What? Why? You're impeaching
I-
him with a prior inconsistent statement. What's the
Well,
statement?
No idea. I think
What's
part
the
of this
issue?
is, I think it's nitpicky little things that the
I'm
state.
not referencing the transcript page right now. Isn't it true that you told them in the February 18th, 2020 interview that you sat there with a line of sight of Ms. Harwick and Mr. Pursehouse for 45 minutes while they were having that second conversation after the end of the program?
I don't know if that's what the transcripts say.
Well, that's his answer. So it's not inconsistent. If that's what the transcript says, then he's going to go. Are you saying that if that's what the transcript said,
We'll get the
says,
facts out then.
Well, I wasn't
well,
shown
he
the
said
transcript.
45 minutes. Does the transcript reflect 45 minutes, counsel?
Yes, that's
Okay, let's make a reference page and line, please.
all right. If I may have a moment.
Yes.
You could still get the testimony from the witness. Why is this judge such a barrier to the defense?
That's why I'm asking. I feel like the defense attorney like slept with his mother-in-law or something. Like,
Can we establish
8 to 10.
the 45 minutes for the
Line.
record from the witness's statements?
well, what I'm thinking the defense attorney is trying to get in is that now the witness is saying that he sat somewhere else and didn't have a line of sight on them, versus what he said in the statement was that he had a line of sight on them at all time. I don't know.
I haven't been watching the whole thing, so I don't know if this is like if the defense counsel has been doing a lot of stupid stuff and it's now led to this, or if the judge has been this way the whole time.
Well, so in opening statement, defense counsel tried to add argument, and so the state jumped on that. But again, you'll have to watch opening statements because the defense opening statement was, again, the birth child of a Daryl Brooks, Sarah Boone thought process that I can't even muddle through. So it's very muddled. I don't know what he's trying to get out of this. You have a terrible fact pattern. I mean, you've got the man on camera going into the house. You've got his DNA there. You've got his DNA under her fingernails. You've got him laying in wait. I mean, basically, you've
And
got
you have the whole like hand in front of the.
yeah, you've got him running away after you hear a thunk, okay? It's not like he was the most stealthier person ever.
Could you
So
imagine Jodi Arias with Ring cameras?
Oh my God, I
oh my
know.
god. You know what? I wanna see if she can still make it through a doggy door. I wonder if we can do, like, a prison Olympics or something.
I would like to see that too.
Yeah, the defense is basically saying he caused her to slip and fall, but it wasn't premeditated. Like, she was trying to get away from him because she's athletic and dancing, she thought she could somehow parkour her way across the the balcony and get away from him. It's just I have no idea. So, he's doing an okay job, but he's doing it in a way that pisses off the judge, and what is the first rule of lawing, even if you're pre-law? You don't piss off the judge.
Right.
That starts in the middle of the paragraph.
It's a specific inconsistent statement.
Okay, now, let's not have any speaking objections. Let me look at it.
Would it refresh your recollection to read the relevant portion of the transcript? Would it refresh your recollection?
Sure.
Okay. If you could please read
Yeah.
from line 17 to line 24.
Yeah, I'm going to ask for context that the witness read from page 9. Before that, please.
Your Honor, this is inappropriate.
Okay, have them read what you're gonna have them read. You can ask them on,
Okay.
redirect.
Please read from line 17 to line 24.
Okay.
Did that refresh your recollection?
I think that is a very general description of, without a lot of detail, of what happened in those 45 minutes.
Objection, non-responsive.
All right, that's his explanation of it. So ask them the question again.
Isn't it true that
Mr. Judge.
you told detectives that you followed them after about 5 or 10 minutes out to the area where they were talking during the second conversation?
Yes.
And isn't it true that you told detectives that you were sitting there watching them with a line of sight during their second conversation?
I don't think anything said about sitting there for the line of sight. So what I just read did not have any of that language.
Isn't it true that you said, I saw them sitting in the same spot talking again on the bench?
Yes.
And isn't it true that you said, so there was the same body language by both of them?
Yes.
And
Yeah,
isn't
let's
it
just
true-
get to the time, Counsel.
Isn't it true that you said, and eventually it was another 45 minutes, and I was kind of tired just sitting there? Isn't it true you said that? That's the only question I'm asking you.
That statement there doesn't fully express the context of what happened in that 45
Is
minutes.
it correct that you said that now? If the
Yes,
people
that
want to
is-
ask you on redirect,
That's in the
clarification, they can. So his answer is yes.
Judge, we don't need your assistance. The judge should not be doing this.
If I may just a brief moment.
Go ahead. You have a few more questions, I take it?
I'm just making sure I've done it.
Okay. If you missed one, you have recross as well, so.
All right, nothing further.
Okay, redirect,
I'm
Counsel.
frustrated too.
Now, counsel had you read a portion of your transcript from February 18, 2020, at page 10, at the mid-paragraph. I want you to read from page 9 all the way up until he told you where to read. I'm going to ask you,
Page
How many
9, line
days
what?
of trial?
right at the beginning, page 9, line 1.
State
Read that to yourself.
One to what?
Read it to yourself.
Yes, of course he's gonna read it to himself.
Read it to yourself up until where counsel told you to finish reading.
Just look up when you're finished. Trying to get somebody's attention.
I hate when I do that. I'm writing a text to Mr. Malt. I'm like,
typed it when she, like,
objection.
coworkers.
I was
and
trying to
like,
do
talk-
yesterday, streaming the Whitmer case and drafting an order at the same time.
Normally I take a break at 11 and 3, but during
I
jury
was writing
selection,
all kinds of
we wanted to get the
nonsense.
process done, so that's why I skipped the breaks to your detriment. So I could see you guys squirming
Don't
wanting to go to the
do that.
bathroom, so
Why
I
not?
apologize for that.
Dave.
So,
What?
That case, I said that case is so frustrating. Don't try to do work and write that case. You're gonna write some nasty crap. In
That's
there.
why I pushed it to this evening, because I was going to stream, but I have to work. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way I can stream that case and work.
It's so frustrating.
Is that a retrial? Because I thought that they had tried
No,
and
they were
convicted
acquitted
several
on
of them.
They were acquitted on federal charges, and now the state brought charges.
Mo, I wish you could join. You would have so many thoughts.
I'll send
I
you a
do
link.
have like I do have like 5 Dale Gribble shirts in
Yeah.
my Amazon cart that
This would
if I win the lotto, I need to buy.
Everyone with a camera that's been in chat got a link. So if you jump
Ooh.
in, if you want a link, let me know. I didn't see you in there, so I didn't send you a link.
yeah.
I went straight to bed. I don't know if I'm getting a touch of the cold that my middle daughter had or what, but also yesterday Fry woke up at 3 a.m. and chose violence and was up. So it was like newborn tired by 6 p.m. I was like, I'm done. You all have spaghetti and meatballs. I'm going to bed.
It's all the annoying of like
Context about what you told the detectives on February 18th, 2020 about what you observed as far as that conversation and the length of that conversation.
Yes, it does.
How so?
Well, what I just read was a much more detailed account of the first interaction, watching them while we were about to go on the red carpet. And then there's just a couple lines about the after show conversation they had.
David, Sal's asking what time Eastern.
Right now, it's scheduled for 7 p.m. Eastern. However, I think Flux and Chandler are going. I might
Text
move it
message
to 8
people see one.
and just stream
Where
for
Amy
as many
texts
hours
you,
as I
I'm
can.
around to the right, talking, I'm okay. Why did you send her a text with those hands? Why was that? Why did you use that emoji as a response?
I mean, it's a prayer emoji that's meant to be loving and, conscious and concerned.
So you were not saying thank you with that?
Are we really talking emojis
No,
right now?
I mean, yes, I am thankful that she responded, but it was the intention, I think, was to be affirming her communication.
And counsel asked you questions about what you said about hearing the defendant calling Amy Harwick, you ruined my life, bitch. Well, do you know if you actually made a mistake during the interview?
I believe that at the interview, I may have, because of that grief and that just fog that I was in, had difficulty recalling certain details. And as I have worked through my fog, my grief and shock, my depression, a lot more clarity has come from my experience of.
Well, what if in the interview you actually said he was yelling and that you actually heard it? What if that was what you said in the interview?
I'm actually speculation.
Sustain.
Well, I'll play the excerpt that was shown so that the witness can hear it, can hear that recording. I have the excerpt that was.
I mean, it's already been read to him, hasn't it?
And I tried to play it
Hold
myself.
on, let's not speak over each
Wait, is
other.
this the
He's
redirect?
already seen the statement in writing.
But the audio, he can hear his voice, what he actually says about that particular statement. There was no audio of that.
How's that different than reading?
Is that the
Well,
prosecutor?
he can hear what he's actually saying about that.
He's already testified to that. He may have misspoke because he was in shock. But as he sits here today and the court asked him, you personally heard it though?
Yes.
Okay. And you may have told the policeman that you didn't.
Yes.
Okay, there it is.
But in the audio, I think if he hears it, he actually, I don't want to argue in front of anyone.
Well, is that the same one you were going to play?
Yes.
Okay, so both of you will get the same thing out of it. Let's try to finish this witness before the break.
Okay, this judge is just done with the case.
Yeah, that's like
If he's treating the
Okay,
state the
that's-
same way, he's just
That's
done
not
with this
me.
case.
That's state of California. I don't.
What now?
Ladies and gentlemen, when you're finished with the transcript, just pass them over to your left side and he'll collect them.
Okay, apparently they're just going to let the entire jury read the transcript.
Stupid.
Okay, so
What?
David, we discussed, so just like you have your convoluted, or okay, I call it convoluted, you call it more accurate hotness level, and I will mobile blackboard this. I have the Danny Glover level of doneness, and it starts with the sweaty Danny Glover in Predator 2 level of doneness, and then there is the sweaty, uh, I think it's the 13th Lethal Weapon. How in the hell did Chris Rock get in my damned movie level of doneness? And this judge is, how in the hell did Chris Rock get into my movie? Lethal Weapon level of done at this point.
I love Mo and her analogies.
The this is only the second day, right? Yeah, this is
Yeah.
day 2. Oh my god, this judge is so done with
With
everything on
everyone.
day 2. This defense attorney doesn't sound competent.
No.
Not competent. I don't want to say that. He sounds like he might be a little out of his depth, a little unsure of himself. And I haven't seen much of the prosecution except he's responding to the whatever it is that the defense is doing.
I think the defense that they're trying to put on, I think, is offensive to most people. The premise that they're trying to go with is like, I had the SADS and she did it to herself. I think that basic premise,
Oh,
you
they're
have to work
arguing
with what you
self
have.
unalive. They're not even arguing like
So what they're
diminished
arguing
capacity
is
or
that
anything.
he was super, super depressed. Seeing her again put him into a deep, deep depression that altered his thinking, and all he could think to get him out of this deep depression was he needed to talk to her. She blocked him on the phone. She would not talk to him. The only way that he could, fix this problem was to talk to her. So he broke into her house and he took the syringe, according to the defense, to unalive himself because he was deeply depressed. Now, she reacted badly, according to the defense, to him being in her house. A scuffle ensued. He tried to, I guess, subdue her in the necular region, as you do. As she tried to escape him, she went over the balcony somehow and fell. So, really, he just had the SADS. And you can't get him for murder with the special aggravator of lying in wait, which would have put him eligible for the death penalty in California. But Gavin Newsom is phasing out the death penalty, which is odd because you wouldn't think American Psycho would phase out the death penalty, but that's neither here nor there, really. Yeah, so that's the defense.
It's very brief, I take it.
It should be like less than.
Special circumstances is
copy
the word
for
I was
the
thinking.
I gave one to the clerk.
Is this it here? Okay, is this it? Yes, okay, thank you.
Yeah, they're basically arguing she might have started to try to climb down from the balcony because she's very athletic. She might have done pole work, if you will, like pole dancing and aerial ballet. Just the absolute most insane thing.
Permission to play the recording now?
Yes, go ahead.
I know. I keep thinking he's going to make an appearance and he won't.
Just one moment.
Okay.
Where's the 31st?
And I will be right back because someone has just woken up and I don't want piddle in my floor. So I will be right.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi. Why is it so quiet?
I don't
Really?
know. They're sidebarring it.
I mean, I don't know why they keep dragging this out with this guy anyway. Like, move on. Like, what is he really going to tell you?
So the idea is that this guy was the last to see her alive, or just
No,
he just saw them together
Yes.
8 years after.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take a 15-minute break, if you would. Let's be back in 15 minutes.
He was
I
at
kinda
the
like this.
event that she ran into the defendant at.
Okay.
He was with her at the event, so.
I haven't liked the stream yet. I gotta jump on and like it. There we go. I'm gonna go share it too. By the way, for anyone who's been following me lately, I have been adding a new playlist every time I am on a stream. I am putting that.
I'm gonna
in
play
the playlist.
just a small
And,
portion of your interview, Mr. Chops. I'm gonna ask you to listen carefully to that interview, okay?
With a
And
new-
also you can
maybe
read along with
affiliate
the
network.
transcript.
Even for other people?
Well, for Mo and for the people
That's what I mean. Like Mo and stuff. Okay.
yeah, people like Groom, like Mo. Salvador's all about it.
Salvador is all about it.
My audio is very low. I could fix that.
It was
I'm a
low
little remote.
when the court was going. You're fine. I mean, you're fine when it's quiet.
I'll
think-
just bump it up a touch. I have my headphones in. Oh, David. Hey, Eries.
Oh, David.
Ooh, what is this fun stuff?
Microphone next to it. Do you have it right there, that one there?
My God.
That microphone right there? Right up. Turn it this up. There you go. All right, let's try it.
The tail end of the fight. And what both of them told me, some of the former he as well said, they were standing in line, and I walked away to the entrance, and he walked by, caught glimpse of her, and just zeroed in, sort of walked straight towards her, and just started like berating her. I don't have specific quotes, because I didn't feel the being in the middle of the fight, but when I got there, she calmed me down and saying, let's go talk in the corner, we'll talk about this, she's trying to create my peace and so that's when I walked back, but when the phone told me, he was saying, you ruined my life, you called her a bitch, he was escalated, and it wasn't just a comment, it was like needs of high yelling basically, and enough to where the performers are calling me repeatedly, and obviously covers me. So, yeah, he was just saying things like, you ruined my life.
Pause it there. Now you had a chance to listen to that?
Yes.
Right, so
It
you
was so
do
hard
talk
to
about
hear,
performers
And then
telling
it got
you
loud.
that the defendant called her, said something to the effect of "you ruined my life, bitch."
Yes.
You also say that you ran back to that location,
Yes.
and then the last sentence you say, "So yeah, he was just saying like you ruined my life, bitch. You're such a hypocrite." What is that? What are you talking about there?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you
Yes.
elaborate?
Yes. So you said you ran back. In your last statement, are you saying you're the one that ran back and you're hearing "you ruined my life, you're such a hypocrite," or are you saying that's from the performers?
I heard "you ruined my life, bitch," and I cannot say what the performers heard because there were different accounts, But if They said that they heard there's a hypocrite or you
That's not what
ruined
I'm
my life.
asking. I'm asking in this statement right here,
Sure.
where you say line 6, you ran something about you ran over. Well, first it says line 4. It's the high he was yelling. Who was yelling?
He was yelling.
And how do you know
It
that?
was he.
Gareth.
And when you're talking to detectives about he's yelling, are you saying you heard him yelling, or are you saying the performers are telling you that he's yelling?
Both. I heard when I walked over to the two of them that were seated, and heard that as I approached. And the performers also mentioned that they heard something similar. And Amy also shared in our Bob's Big Boy dinner meal.
Well, let's not get. I'm not asking you about the Bob's Big Boy. I'm asking about this interview with the detectives. Then you say, and enough where the performers are calling me repeatedly, and obviously I ran over. Then the next sentence. So, oh yeah, he was just, and he was saying things like, "You ruined my life. You're such a
I
hypocrite."
want to know about the
So
Bob's Big
is that
Boy.
what the performers are telling you, or is that what you heard when you ran back?
That's what I heard when I walked over to check on Amy when they were seated.
So, and is that what you told the detectives back
I
when
love
you were
that
interviewed on February 18th,
Bob's Big
2020?
Boy is really a thing.
I don't recall. I'd have to look at the transcripts.
Well, you're looking at it right now.
Okay. Yes, that's what I told them.
So is it your understanding that you heard it both from the performers and you yourself heard it?
Yes.
You heard it for yourself.
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Rendell. In the clip that you just listened to, you say, and I quote, "From what they both told me."
Okay, you guys, they have him on the effing Ring camera. Like, do we really need the witnesses of Cirque du Soleil, like, coming up and saying, "Well, he called her a naughty word." I mean, we have dude in the washroom with the wrench. Do we need this man saying, he called her unkind things, and he was kinda skeevy." I need why? Why are we beating this dead this horse has already been turned into glue. David,
Sorry, I
you're
was
mute.
muted. Yeah, I was muted. I said so. It goes to the mindset though of the defendant, right? So I can see where it would
Yeah.
be needed, but they're dwelling a lot on it, and they must be thinking that there's something important there. Both
Well,
sides. I don't know.
but the fact is that they can call multiple other people unless these people are the type that will not show up. I mean, they can be subpoenaed, but that will plead the fifth or I mean,
Well, they
since
can
they
be
were being
subpoenaed
able
if they're in the state of California, but this was a big event, right? So there might not be in the state
Yeah.
of California.
Well, and that's the thing. It just I guess for me, it kind of just seems that you have you have the defendant telling his close friends, "I'm in a deep spiraling depression. I can't think, I can't function after this, meeting in the 2 weeks leading up to unaliving. I'm, going through the motions. I feel disconnected, disassociated." Do we really need the Dr. Friend Zone to be pedantically interrogated about what he said when we have him again on Ring camera and we have close associates that the defense is gonna bring up to show he was big sad? If
Yeah,
we
I
have
don't
that
know.
going to his state of mind?
Just from experience, the problem is that sometimes when the state will bring up unnecessary witnesses like this guy, but makes them sound necessary, then you are forced to, as a defense, to really kind of push back on that and say, and basically show how unnecessary this guy is. When you do that, though, when the judge realizes that this witness is unnecessary, the judge can sometimes, and it sounds like that's what's happening, say, just move on, let's move on.
Well,
And you're
this
like, but
witness was
judge, they're trying to make him out to be important.
but this witness was necessary for the victim's state of mind. But I don't know that that's well, wouldn't the victim's state of mind be appropriate as something that the jury should know that she was afraid? Because she did write herself an email, and I believe that was something that was put in for the opening statement from the state. Uh,
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
this, I, I'm just tired of friend zone guy, and I hope he gets off the stand because he's annoying me. This just seems boring, and the judge is annoyed too. So I go with the judge. We're all like, let it go, let it go.
Told me, the performer and Amy,
Mhm.
he was saying, you ruined my life. He called her a bitch, right? That's what you said to the detectives.
Yeah, that's there.
And so the phrase, from what they both told me, what did you mean by that?
That they shared with me some of the things that they heard.
And so your understanding about what Mr. Pursehouse said was based on what they had told you.
It was based on what I heard, and it was also reinforced by what they also heard themselves, what they shared with me.
That's what you meant in that statement?
Yes.
In your preliminary hearing testimony, there was also cross-examination on this exact issue. Do you remember about the "you ruined my life, bitch" statement?
Yes.
And in your preliminary hearing testimony, you testified that you had made a mistake and you had made an error, right?
Yes.
And that your statement to the detectives that you didn't hear that was a mistake because of shock, right?
Which page?
Well, it doesn't matter. We're talking about the issue. Go ahead. Is that correct, sir?
Is that correct?
Yes, that sounds correct.
Nothing further.
All right. Anything further based on only those questions,
Yeah.
counsel? Let's not belabor the point on this issue.
Right, when counsel asked you, didn't you say that, and isn't that in the transcript, and you just agreed? Why did you just agree? Do you know if that's a for sure, do you know if he's reading that accurately?
I have no idea if it's in the transcript, but I trust that
Go ahead.
I have no idea if that's in the transcript.
So then why agree with it?
Objection, Ms.
Well, you have the transcript in front of you, don't you?
Right. I'm gonna have
He's already stated, he's looked at the transcript. We're belaboring this point. I think both of you have made your point. Let's move on.
Just one second.
My writer was real low and I had taken the plug out to facilitate the student who was sitting in, so oops.
You
So
okay now?
I just plugged it in again. Hang on. There it goes. Let's see if it comes up because it should go now. I can write with it plugged in. Okay, coming up. Hang on. Yes, keyboard set. Loading.
Oh, this woman's gonna be so pissed if she loses the last bunch of people talking over each other.
21, page 14, line 25. I want you to read this to yourself from page 14, line 25 to page page 16, line 15.
Sorry, can you repeat that, please?
Yes, so I'm going to point that out for you. So page 14, line 25, all the way to page 16, line 15.
What is that? There's
It
someone
looks like
yelling
another
in Jamie's
transcript.
background. No, I
Oh,
heard talking in the background. I thought it was maybe Jamie.
No.
oh no, it's Mr. Mo. He's off for the week and Monday. He's trying to get the rooms taken care of. So,
He's building still or painting.
yep.
Why is this guy still
So-
on the stand?
I don't know.
Because
Who in the chat thinks this guy
patience.
ever got there? At least once, right? Did he get a trial
not
and
even a
then
pity
placed in the
one.
friend zone? You don't even think he got
No.
one?
Now, in that
Not even
exchange
pity.
where defense counsel is asking you about whether you heard the
Not
statement, you ruined
Let
my
me give you a
life.
back rub, and she felt
Did you
sorry,
ever
and she just
say
wanted to take a
in
nap.
that
No.
exchange, I made a mistake?
Not in those transcripts.
Well, are there other transcripts where you said that you made a mistake?
No.
Well, I'm asking you about
Oh.
this preliminary transcript.
Okay.
Did you ever say I made a mistake about that statement?
No.
I have nothing further.
In the transcript that you just read, isn't it true that you testified that you would say that the state of shock that you were in, the emotional distress I was in, made it much more difficult to have recalled and expressed what I then took time to process afterwards.
Yes, I said that.
So in saying that, you were saying because of the emotional stress that you were in, the shock that you described earlier, that you made a misstatement when you talked to the detectives on February 18th.
I just don't believe that.
Why?
Did-
In that
How
moment.
many times is he going to say yes to a different question asked the same way? I understand this is what defense attorneys do to try to get you to finally say yes to, but
The problem is he's not
he's
a
a
good defense
therapist.
attorney.
Well, he hasn't gotten into a rhythm, and this therapist knows, or maybe he doesn't know, but oh my gosh.
I just want to say today, Junior.
Oh my gosh, I know. Even when we are mirroring the judge as like, we're fully Danny Glover, final Lethal Weapon ready to be done with Mel Gibson. Can
In that
we
moment.
get out of here now?
Objection, that's contrary, that's misstated testimony.
Sustained. It'd be different if you stated, if is that what you meant? That's different. But let's finish with this witness.
So
Go ahead.
This is like,
This is the last.
the judge is like, I need to use the restroom. If y'all don't get out of here, I'm cutting off your mics.
Great.
Let's go.
Okay, go ahead.
When you were explaining that the state of shock and the emotional distress you were in made it difficult to recall and express, what did you mean?
I meant that, prior to Amy's murder,
Assumes
Kobe
facts,
Bryant
not
dying in
memories.
the helicopter.
Objection, non-responsive.
I'm
What the F are we talking about Kobe Bryant now? I'm done with this trial. Y'all.
Okay.
What did you mean, sir?
I'm actually just trying to state that there was a lot of trauma and shock that I was experiencing at the time of that interview.
And because of that,
My testimony and recollection was foggy and less detailed than it is today.
No, that's not how that
And
works.
you testified then.
Sir, did you know Kobe the Hell Bryant? For seriousness, I'm sorry. Like, look, I liked Michael Jackson's music. I liked, Betty White. I was not in tears. Now, y'all, mark my words, when Kevin Spacey dies, I am having a cake. I'm eating the whole damn thing. There will be sparklers in the background. That
it.
man cannot leave this mortal coil soon enough. Allegedly in Minecraft, I'm not saying anyone should. I am not saying that one should assist him. I am just saying, famous people I don't know, I'm not gonna be emotional when they shuffle off. I'll be sad because I like them, but dude just said Kobe Bryant had died, like Letitia Stalk. Like, she was on the phone like, "Oh my
Oh my
god,
God,
Kobe
but I
died."
forgot Letitia she was on a hike and it was she was so distraught. Oh my God, that's funny. I forgot about
Like,
that.
y'all, if you did not know Kobe, Imma need you to stop it. For the love of all that is holy, people, come on now. Unless you are in his family and you are taking, hash brown casserole over, I need you to stop.
Such a Midwestern thing.
Now I want some hash brown
I
casserole.
know, now I do too.
I'm like, okay, honey, we're going to a Cracker Barrel and we're just gonna get a whole pan of I'm gonna make some hash brown casserole now. Y'all know what's for dinner at Mo's house. Hash brown casserole.
That it made it much more difficult to have recalled and expressed what I then
I'll be
took
right-
time to process afterwards.
He stated, yes, that is correct. Is that correct?
And so,
Yes.
just
And
final,
Vegas to what?
final question. This is
Okay, Vegas to what?
Vegas to what is he having a difficulty recollecting?
Well, just in general, is that correct? Did you mean in general?
Well, I mean, I think we've already established that, for example, how he got her number, we established that.
Oh my God.
Is now he lawyering?
Okay.
Why is he
all right.
lawyering?
There's a precedent that I've.
All right.
Wait a minute. Do I get to lawyer?
And so, in that moment in the preliminary hearing testimony, you were explaining that later on you remembered that you personally had heard that statement. You ruined my life, bitch.
Just mistake the testimony.
This is sustained based on his prior answers, responses.
Nothing further.
Anything?
No.
All right, so you may step down.
Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome, sir. You may call your next witness.
My
People
God.
call Miss Aspen Jameson.
Jameson, you said?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
All right, let me put this banner up. I think her name was Astrid Jameson.
Yeah, I didn't catch the first name, but Jameson was the last name.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do Jameson, but I'm also gonna do
Is he really wearing a mask?
oh my God. What is I give up California. California, I can't with you.
I mean, come on.
Are you examining this,
I am,
Toriano?
Your Honor.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Sir, let me explain something to you. Behind that plastic and with that mask, you done touched a bunch of papers that everyone done touched, plus Xerox, plus touched again, plus their interns done touched, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're just like behind the counter at your grocery store, the lady done touched and licked all the stuff that, because, you have that one old lady that like licks the thing and then takes your receipt and touches. You have not saved yourself from anything. And I'm sorry,
it's
but at the
terrible.
beginning of COVID, I had a little feral one that would lick Walmart carts. So I'm sorry. I tried to wipe it off with the little thing, but y'all done got like all the things from my son. So I'm sorry.
Your son's probably got an amazing immune system now.
Yeah. Well, with a last name Jameson, that's why the banner is Jameson, not that Jameson. Maybe. As I told you, I don't remember names. Oh no.
Somebody said
I
Aspen,
don't.
like Aspen, Colorado. Aspen Jameson.
Oh Lord.
Aspen. Oh.
I'm going to have to do so many videos on some of these witnesses. And again, not to shame them. Look, everyone gets to have their own career, but these people are hilarious. California is its own very special weirdness.
It is weird.
You're going to approach the witness stand here, ma'am. Raise your right hand, face this gentleman here.
You solemnly state that the testimony you're about to give and the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. Very proud of
Can we discuss her hair for a minute? She did know she was going, like those extensions have seen better days. Her hairstylist is like, oh ma'am.
Good God.
Yeah, this was like, did she just come? She looks all stylish and then her hair is like
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
She looks like, oh gosh, Courtney Clenny.
Oh my God.
Like when she was trying to get the restraining order, like,
Yeah.
he's gonna tell you I'm crazy. But the fact is that he is the crazy one, okay?
Look
And
at him.
everyone
So
else is
innocent.
and everyone else is like, I worked hard my entire life. I get into this bougie hotel and this ratchet lady moves in with her new money.
Yep. Is her OF money?
So yeah, I will be doing a video on her. Sal sent me something, so I have on the docket for my videos. Apparently there was another Loch Ness monster sighting, but not during the live event. The Sexology Institute that was not accredited, and now her sex therapist articles. So, we will have all the things. Her I I don't know, but you sent me a DM, Sal, so yeah,
Is that Steve?
she's
Ms. Jameson, I'm just going to
ordered
ask you to
Dr.
lean into the
Muffins
microphone in your
chocolate.
responses, if you would, okay? Go ahead.
Please state and spell both your first and last name.
Aspen Jameson, ASPEN, JAMIESON.
Mr. Avila? Oh, Ms. Mariano, excuse me.
It can be confusing, Your Honor. I
Yeah.
understand. Thank you. Ms. Jameson, before we start, do you mind moving the mic just a little bit closer and pointing it down towards your face so that we can hear you? Ms. Jameson, what do you do?
I'm sure it may be a leap of the imagination that she's fairly comfortable placing things closer to her mouth area.
Yeah. It's probably a very common thing for her.
Moving on.
What do you do for a living?
I am an adult film star.
Of course you are.
An adult film star.
Thank you. As part of your work, did you attend the XBiz award show on January 16th of 2020?
I did.
Is that something that you would normally?
Also, question: does that preclude you from owning a hairbrush?
Or some dry shampoo or something.
Or yeah, or a hairbrush, ma'am, or some violet shampoo. What the actual heck? Because she spent damn near like $800 for them extensions. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Enough clowning on her hair.
Normally intend as being a person in your industry?
Yes.
Who did you attend the award show with in 2020?
At the time, or that night, I went with my friend, and we basically got a room to get our hair and makeup done, and it's just me and her.
Do you know about what time you ended up going to the actual award show after getting your hair and makeup done with your friend?
Around like 6:30 p.m.
And where was the XBiz Awards?
It was at the JW Marriott in downtown LA.
Now, when you got to the award show, did you walk the red carpet?
I did.
And did you do that pretty quickly after you arrived at the XBiz Awards?
Yes.
Let me show you what's been previously marked.
I'm sorry. Letitia Stalk just killed me with that. I'm sorry. She just I don't get it. Yes, I just took him out. Besides, I'm not the one going to Taco Bell. You only rent their food.
Oh my God. So true.
As people's 10A. Do you see that in the screen in front of you?
Like by the
Is
motels.
that familiar to you?
The rent.
Yeah,
Is that the red carpet as it
Taco Bell?
appeared?
I'm like,
Back
no, you only rent those foods, and I have to go to a therapist, today just to get clearance for a test trial on a spinal stimulator for my leg. And I'm like, I don't want her to have to, smell any bubble guts stuff. Like she's, doing a packet agreement on my sanity. I don't want her to not sign off on that.
Are you okay, ma'am?
Sal,
Yeah,
Sweetie,
and it's
she doesn't
sticky
even take care of
stuff.
her hair. I mean, honey, find some find someone who puts a little effort into themselves and yeah,
She's done past her prime, so Sal,
she's
just
a veteran now of
let it go.
she's what, 21? She's now like what, ancient and adult film star? I don't know. Oh my gosh, I can't. This is terrible. I feel bad. I don't Oh Lord. Okay, let's
Back on January of 2020 when you walked that particular carpet for the show.
Yes.
Now, when you were at the show, did you run into somebody by the name of Dr. Fernando Chavez?
Yes.
How do you know Mr. Chavez?
We are friends. I've met him a few years ago. Prior to that,
That voice though.
always kind of in the adult field, I guess, at different places.
Okay, now when I say adulting, it's gonna sound really
Yeah,
I
Sal
was in the
have
adult
floppy 100s.
I this is what I say, it's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel when you're like, "I'm gonna work on mental health." Not again, God bless them. I mean, look, everyone needs mental health advocates, and going to a mental health person when you do work in that field, I'm sure would be very hard because everyone's going or difficult, because I'm sure everyone's going to have their opinions, but possibly stereotypes of daddy issues happen for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you know his position to be in kind of the adult film industry?
Like a doctor for like sexual education and therapy.
Did you see him at the award show?
I did.
Where
With all of the hubs and every weird, crazy, perverted thing you can get on the internet.com these days, the hell do you need to be educated on? You what kind of weird, crazy man versus chicken versus, I don't know, tentacle versus something have you not seen that you need some sort of doctorate? I'm done.
where at
Man.
the actual award show did you see Dr. Chavez?
He was standing in line waiting for the red carpet.
Was he alone?
No.
So can you tell us about what time you ran into Dr. Chavez on the red carpet?
It was probably around 7:30, 8 p.m.
And this was after you had kind of done your thing.
Right. So I finished red carpet. I had an early call time because they normally have the bigger stars go first to get it over with to make sure that they have all the press that they need.
You're one of the bigger stars.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
You said earlier in a question that I posed to you that he wasn't alone when you ran into him. Do you know who he was with?
He was with Amy.
Now I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as People's 10D. Do you recognize who's depicted in this photograph?
Yes.
And who is that?
Amy.
And is this the person that you saw Dr. Chavez with on the evening of the award show when you ran into him on the red carpet?
Yes.
Is that the first time you met Amy?
Yes.
So you have no prior interaction with Amy prior to this time?
Never.
Now, when you ran into Dr. Chavez, did he introduce you to his friend Amy?
Yes.
Did you come to find out what it was that she was doing there that evening?
I knew he basically said she was a therapist as well, just like him, and they were going there to basically network.
Now, when you saw Dr. Hernando Chavez with Amy at the red carpet, did you actually stop and talk and hang out?
As soon as I finished, I was walking, I saw him, and he basically said that I looked very nervous because I don't really like to talk in front of people. I don't like to do media stuff. So he asked if I wanted a drink.
Did
Well,
he
her
go and
job
get that?
doesn't involve a lot
He
of
did. He asked if I could stay.
Okay, wait a minute.
her job does not involve a lot of talking, so
It's talking in front of people you have a problem with.
yeah. That's what gets
Ah, it's almost like that. Okay. Because a lot of people, it's the other way around. They'd rather not be naked around other people, but okay.
okay.
Just imagine everyone else naked and maybe I think Aspen Jameson is her stage name. God, I hope. She's probably like Brittany Harrison or
Well,
something.
go
I don't
Google
know.
her, Sal, and tell us. Is that her stage name also?
I don't want her real name. Her parents are probably well, her mom is probably not so excited that she didn't brush her hair. Oh my gosh, her hair is so annoying to me.
The oiliness is driving me crazy.
Well, it's the 19 different colors of blonde and the brassiness, but Sal, let it go. Well, and she's one of the bigger like, I don't even she was in what, like, Saving Ryan's Privates or something, like the anthology Lord of the Rings, only it wasn't about that. I mean,
Well,
they were very artistic.
yeah, I was one of the bigger stars. Really?
Okay. Well, can we have your discology, please?
Yeah.
I could stay with her and keep her company while he went to go get us drinks.
And about how far away would you say the area to get drinks was from the area in which you first ran into Dr. Chavez and Amy?
Maybe like 30, 40 feet.
I like her. I want to see more of her.
Sal, this or
Wait.
David, you find this hot, not woman who brushed her hair but maybe has offensive red lips. This you find Christina Aguilera in the
I find
Dirty
her more
album?
attractive than the
What?
victim. Yes.
David, go away.
This woman is giving me Christina
cannot
Aguilera
believe
from
you.
the Dirty album, never taken a shower.
Smoking.
That Dr. Chavez went to actually go and get you a drink?
Stop.
I feel like she just got out of a good
We're
tussle.
standing there.
She probably did. She has oily
In
hair.
Jello or
She's
bagel.
experienced.
And she's like sound like she smoked like a carton of cigarettes before she came
Well, I
in.
haven't heard her voice. I'm just going off of her look right now. Let me hear her voice.
Okay.
Can and will do. We will ask and ye shall receive, David.
With Amy, did you guys engage in conversation?
Just very, very small talk.
Oh, nope. Never mind.
Okay.
It's the kind of woman that you're like, I'll bring you home, just don't say anything. Just please don't talk.
You're like, very, very small talk. We were here, and I was telling her that I'm a very big star, but I don't like to talk to people.
I withdraw all endorsements of her.
Did anything significant happen as you were engaging in small talk with Amy on the red carpet?
While we were talking, a guy came up and basically said, "It's funny seeing you here."
Is she currently
Now,
drunk?
what was the tone of the person when they said, "It's funny seeing you here"?
Very angry.
Angry.
We are unsure if she's unable to make facial movements because of filler or she's
The Botox.
No, it's Botox for sure.
Yeah, we're not sure.
Now, did you recognize that person?
Their
No,
eyebrows.
I've never seen him before.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as people's Tennessee. You recognize this person.
Yes.
And how do you recognize this person?
He was
Person are we talking about?
The person
in the
depicted
red.
Tennessee.
Well, there's two.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The guy in
person
the
in the
red.
red, I'm sorry.
The guy in the red is the guy that came up to us.
And said, funny seeing you here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
With a yes,
Yes.
or no?
Yes.
Do you see that person in court?
Yes.
Could you please identify that person by telling us where that person is seated and what that person is wearing?
Blue collared shirt and glasses.
All right. Identifying the defendant.
Now, you said that this person came up and said, "Funny seeing you here." Did he bother to introduce himself to you?
No.
Would it be fair to say that he interrupted your conversation with Amy at
Yeah.
that point?
As to your first objection, the court will sustain it. Your second objection is overruled. Go ahead.
When he came up to you, was it in the midst of you and Amy speaking?
Yes.
Was your conversation interrupted?
Yes.
Did he introduce himself at any point?
No.
Oh,
Did you find that rude?
objection relevant. Sustained.
What was his tone?
Very angry.
She drinks a lot.
Now, how long had you
She's
been
an ex-porn
standing
star, so-
with Amy
Or
engaging
current
What's her
one,
porn
I
name?
don't know.
when the defendant walked up to
I think
her?
this is her
It was very short.
video
It was
name.
around
It's a
2 to
big
3
star.
minutes.
What's her name?
Aspen.
It's
James.
Astrid,
When
or yeah, Aspen Jameson.
Sal said he couldn't find it. I think she spells it with an I too, so maybe that makes a difference.
So we can add illiterate to her resume.
She said she was a
I'm-
big star.
She did say she was rather. Oh, I'm sorry, Jameson. I spelled Jameson wrong. Let me change it on my banners.
It's Jamieson. That's what the
Yeah.
law and C word has. Or
Well, yes.
Like Jamie Son.
CTV.
Jamie Son.
you saw the defendant approach you and Amy and heard the statement, "Funny seeing you here," did you get the impression that he knew her?
Yes.
In the 2 to 3 minutes that the defendant engaged in conversation with Amy, were you silent?
She's not 49, is
So
she?
you weren't engaging in any conversation with them.
No.
I don't know.
Did it appear to you that the defendant was directing his statements directly at Amy during this time
Yes.
and nobody else?
Said X,
No.
so I assume she's retired. But then
Were
again,
you able
like
to hear what they were talking about?
Wendy retired.
A little bit.
Yeah, I feel like you retire at
It was
like age
basically
22.
like
Yeah,
funny
like what-
seeing you here.
Oh God.
Basically called
He
her
was
a
very
her.
hypocrite
funny.
and
We need her
did
station.
not know why she was there. It kind of seemed like that she never approved of the adult industry or didn't know why. He didn't know why she was there, basically.
So initially you
They're
had
actually not
said
saying
that
much about her in
when
the
he
chat.
walked up to Amy,
Actually.
the defendant, that he appeared angry.
Mhm.
There you go.
As I'm sorry, you have to
Yes.
answer.
Sorry. Yes.
As this conversation continued for the 2 to 3 minutes, would you say his tone was still angry?
Yes.
You said he called her a hypocrite. Did he curse at her at any time during that 2 to 3 minutes?
Yes.
Could you describe any words or recall any curse words that he used at Amy during this time?
Something along the lines of "You fucking ruined my life."
And could you tell me the volume at which he was speaking?
It was pretty loud, and everybody kind of started looking over, and she seemed embarrassed, so she tried to calm him down and kind of take the conversation elsewhere so people weren't staring at her.
How close were you standing to them?
Very close,
So it was loud enough for you to hear?
of course.
But you said you noticed, you were able to actually observe other people in that area looking at them?
Yes, we were in a line for the red carpet.
Now, you said that Amy was trying to calm him down. Can you explain to us what it is that you mean when you say Amy was actually trying to calm him down?
Objection, speculations.
Ooh.
I felt like she was embarrassed that everybody was staring, so she was just trying
Oh my
to
God,
calm
she
him
can't
down
talk.
to not be so loud. And that's when she kind of removed herself from the line to go and kind of be somewhere a little bit more private.
And just to be more specific, was she trying to calm him down with his words? With her words?
Yes.
Objection, speculation.
Well, she said it appeared, it didn't say that she was conclusively doing that. It appeared to this witness that Ms. Hardwick was trying to calm the individual down.
Now, I know you said that the defendant's voice was loud. Is that correct?
Yes.
How was Amy's voice in response to the defendant?
She seemed calm and was just trying to calm him down.
Did she yell at him?
No,
Did she curse at him?
no,
Did she call him any names?
no.
Now, you said that at some point she tried to remove herself from that area.
Yes.
When she tried to remove herself, what do you mean by that? Like walk away?
Yes, try to walk away.
Did the defendant follow her?
Yes.
So about after 2 or 3 minutes of the defendant cursing at her and calling her names, at that point you saw the victim move away from that location.
Yes.
Now, could you tell us where they went from that point?
Yes, it was not very far, but far enough that people weren't paying attention. And there was like a bathroom, maybe 15, 20 feet away from the line.
Now, I want to, before we get to what they were doing when they had walked away, we'd established during testimony that the defendant was loud. Now, at any point during that 2 to 3 minutes before they walked away, did his volume increase at all?
Yes.
So, despite Amy consistently trying to calm him down, his volume increased.
Objection, restate the testimony.
Overall, go ahead and finish your question.
Objection, leading as well.
What I haven't heard the end of the question, ask your question.
Sure. I actually had finished my question.
Well, despite
I'll be
that,
back.
what was, like, I didn't hear it all. Let's see.
Sure.
Hold on.
I can repeat it, Your Honor.
Then I can read it. Okay, so despite Amy consistently trying to calm him down, his volume increased. That was your question?
Yeah. Did his volume increase?
Okay,
Reporter
you can
is
answer
on
that.
it.
Yes.
Now, you said that other people were looking at them as this conversation was taking place. I know you said Amy appeared to try to calm the defendant down. Did she have any other sort of reaction to the defendant confronting her, aside from just trying to calm him down?
I felt like she seemed a little embarrassed, so she just kept trying to calm him down, but it seemed like he was getting more upset by the fact that she was trying to calm him down.
Objection, speculation.
Okay, part of the speculation, that last part would be stricken.
The embarrassed portion remains, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, who walked away first? Was it Amy and then the defendant followed, or was it kind of like a collective walking away?
I believe Amy tried walking away and he followed her.
Now, you stated that where they went to was about 15 feet away near the bathroom area. Is that right?
Yes.
Could you still see them from where you were standing near the red carpet?
Yes.
Could you hear them?
No.
Despite not being able to hear what they were saying, could you still tell what the defendant's demeanor was from that distance?
What the demeanor appeared to be.
Correct.
It just seemed like they were arguing.
So I want to be more specific about the defendant. Could you see his body language from where you were?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes. Could you tell me what that body language was?
Just his arms were kind of like up and just very like furious with the situation.
So let the record reflect, Your Honor, that the witness raised both her left and right arms, moving around her hands in kind of a circular motion. So you demonstrated kind of this movement I just described for the record. Would you say he was moving his arms erratically?
Projection meeting.
Yes.
This is thing. All right.
Could you describe what other body movements he was doing while he was speaking with Amy from that distance?
It just kind of seemed like his arms were like kind of going up very angrily and was just very upset.
Projection plus speculation.
Overruled. This is what it appeared to her based on his body language.
Now, I know you had met Amy for the first time that night. Did that interaction between the defendant and Amy cause you any concern?
Objection relevant.
It's foundational.
And
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. I know you just met Amy for the first time that night. But despite just meeting Amy for the very first time, did that interaction with the defendant and Amy cause you any concern at that time?
No.
Did you end up calling your friend Hernando at any point while you were with Amy?
Objection meeting.
Yes.
Yes. And why would you call Dr. Chavez while you were observing this interaction between the defendant and Amy?
Because he told me to stay with her while he went to go get us drinks. And then all of a sudden this happened, and I don't know. I felt bad for her because she was in a very awkward position, and it seemed like they might have just broken up or some. Definitely felt like it was an ex-boyfriend, but it seemed like it was something fresh and new. And I know that she walked away, so I knew that she was uncomfortable. So I was trying to call my friend back to help the situation. I didn't really know her.
And did you get in contact with Dr. Chavez only by cell phone? Only by phone call, or was it by text as well?
I believe I texted him because he didn't answer the phone.
And do you remember what you said to him in order to get him to come back?
Baker, we're pretty sure that she smoked a bunch of, all the smokes really. And vocal fry is something that apparently once you cross the border into California and you decide you're going to be a resident, they give you classes. I'm not putting that up, Sal, but it is possible. It is
I
California.
said, I think your friend needs you.
Based on that statement, did you feel that she needed help?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled.
If I was in that situation, I would want help.
And in your opinion, it appeared that they had just broken up.
Yes.
Now, did Hernando come back to the area where you were standing?
He did.
Did you tell him what you had observed between the defendant and Amy?
Yes.
Did you point out to him where they kind of walked off to?
Objection meeting.
Yes.
Overruled.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Overruled.
Now, once Dr. Chavez came back, what did you do at that point?
I left to go get my makeup retouched up before the award show started.
Did you see Dr. Chavez at all for the remainder of the night?
No.
Did you see Amy at all for the remainder of the night?
No.
And did you see the defendant at all for the remainder of the night?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further. Your Honor.
Well, we got 4 minutes. You want to start?
I prefer to just start on the.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a break for lunch, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be back at 1:30. Have a good lunch.
Okay, actually, guys, this is a good place for me to stop actually right now. And since Sal is off, he can start. So we are at you're at the 103 mark, Sal. So you're going to be right at cross. I'm actually going to end this stream now. We have been going for 2 hours and almost 40 minutes. So thanks everyone for watching. I do have a doctor's appointment. And if Sal jumps on because he says he's off of work, I will probably jump on his stream this afternoon before I have to jump off and get the boys and start all that wonderful afternoon stuff. It is at 1 hour and 3 minutes and 36 seconds. So I will be back after that. And then we will continue this. It's actually really kind of, I mean, it's kind of a pain in the butt to go one day behind, but it's nice to have the closed captions and to have it full like this and then to have the breaks and be able to go speed through them. So I will see you guys in a little bit. And now I get to have Fry wine because he's got to go in his little puppy pen. He is not a fan. Not a fan at all. So have a wonderful day and go over to Sal. He will be starting over at Dolly Talks. And Excited Utterance may come on at some point when it's opposite time in Australia because it's opposite time. And send me a link and I will be back, guys. So see you guys later. Thank you for joining today. And let's hope the shenanigans continue and that not Bob Barker, Drew Carey shows up.